guys, and welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for top producers, with top producers, and by none other than our top producers all across the nation and locally here in our Tampa Bay market. We are also powered by Tampa Bay Real Producers here on the local level. Many of you may be familiar with our guests who get featured in our magazine and get spotlight at our events all throughout the year. You can also check us out at topproducersnation.com to learn more about the community that we built out, the resources that are provided there, among courses and other things to help you become a top producer in your desired market, wherever that might be. So today we get to hang out with one of the top producers here in the Tampa Bay market, and that is none other than Miss Iris Green. How you doing, Iris?
I'm doing good.
Good to have you. Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you.
Iris should look familiar if you're familiar with our stuff. Iris has been featured before by Tampa Bay Real Producers in more than one issue, actually, over the years.
Yep.
So I think it was a Making a Difference spotlight we did on one of your causes that you were behind. And we also just, as a top producing agent, did a feature. Iris is with Keller Williams, Suburban Tampa, and has been a top producer for many years now. I think you said off camera that you just passed 100 million in career. Next month. That's a big milestone. Congratulations. You should be. Yeah, no doubt. And most agents never make it to 100 million in volume. So congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So why don't we start with your background for people who don't really know your story. So how did you get to Tampa? I don't think you grew up here.
No.
So how'd you get here? And eventually how'd you get interested in real estate?
So I actually grew up on the Central Coast of California. My parents, as I was telling you earlier, my parents were very much hippies.
Hence the name Iris.
Hence the name Iris. I have a sister, Heather. My brothers were named after saints. My dad said that was wishful thinking, mostly successful in their later years. But my interest in real estate was kind of forced at that age. My dad always said there's only so much.
So you've been growing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad said there's only so much dirt. And they were put in a position where
God don't make more land.
God don't make more land.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yep. And they became reluctant landlords. They bought 3 houses on one lot on the Central Coast of California in the 80s. And you can imagine what happened there. Yeah. That exploded. So they ended up in their retirement. They had 8 houses, all free and clear, just by investment. And my dad was 8th grade education.
Wow.
My mom was was a school secretary. She never got her degree, but they
played real life Monopoly, huh?
Real life Monopoly. They were very smart with their money. And they taught us everything.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And 3 of the 4 of us kids actually have all dabbled in real estate.
So at what age did you start realizing, you know what, I really need to do something in this real estate world?
It was actually my husband that pushed me in that direction. We bought our first house in Lawton, Oklahoma in 2005.
Wow. Did you meet your husband in California?
I did. Okay. I did. He was stationed there. He was in school, language school. And I met him there. We married. We moved 12 times in 14 years. And
husband's military man.
Husband's military, Army. Yeah. So lots of movement,
Did you have a favorite spot after all those experience? Is that what brought you to Tampa eventually?
That is what brought us to Tampa. Yeah. This was supposed to be his final duty station. He was going to retire out of Tampa.
Gotcha.
And he did.
Yeah. It worked out that way.
It did. It did.
When you look back at the other places you lived at, is there one that stands out?
There is. We loved Belgium.
Really?
Yeah. We were SHAPE Belgium, U.S. Army Europe Belgium.
How long were you there?
We were there for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was just a very, very different lifestyle, different way of living. And it took some
I'm sure.
Very different. But
is that the only place overseas you lived?
It is. Yeah. It was the only place we lived overseas. Everything else was stateside. Mm-hmm. So
did you get to go back at all and visit, or?
We have been back.
Yeah.
Would like to take our daughters back at some point. They're both adults now, so that could get kind of pricey,
Let them pay for themselves.
Right? You gotta get jobs first.
Hey, I know somebody in the real estate game that might be able to show them a thing or two. So you came to Tampa, and your husband pushed you into getting a license. Is that what happened?
He did. We needed flexibility. He was deploying pretty much constantly. He did 6 or 7 deployments. He was up for his 7th. Mm-hmm. And we needed something flexible because both of our daughters had some challenges.
Okay.
So they needed a parent more present in the home.
Gotcha.
So real estate ended up fitting the bill.
And you were reminded of all the times your parents were saying and everything about real
Yep.
estate in those days. So there was
Yep.
already that in the DNA. Anyway.
That was already in the DNA. Thinking about my brothers, one did real estate photography. The other one, he's a contractor. He's actually been featured in Architectural Digest for his custom woodworking. Wow. And yeah.
Nice.
Value.
What year did you get licensed?
I got licensed in 2012, but I officially started working like July 2012. I officially started working in November of 2012.
Wow. So like 13 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast that goes.
It was not quite 13 years. Like 12 years
12 and
and
a
2
half.
months.
We're getting there.
Months.
We're getting there. So what was that first year like for you, if you remember? Getting off to, you didn't have a network here necessarily, right? In Tampa?
I did. They were all realtors.
Oh, okay.
They were all realtors. And as you can imagine, I mean, our industry at the end of the day, as helpful as we are with each other, we are all still in competition.
Sure.
So, you know, I had a fantastic brokerage, very supportive senior agents, but I did have to make my own way. And I learned quickly how to leverage what I had. And my first 2 transactions came from my then 9-year-old daughter.
Really?
I did.
Like people from school or something? Families?
Well, I told my girls, I was like, you know, you like mommy picking you up from school, right? Well, in order for me to keep doing that, I have to sell houses so you can help. How can we help, Mom? Well, you can help by listening to what your friends say. And believe it or not, your kids know everything.
Sure.
They know everything.
Who wants to move and who doesn't. And yeah.
Sure enough, within, I would say, a couple weeks, she had a play date with a friend. And that was my first listing.
Yeah.
And my first sale.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love getting the family involved.
Yeah. And they had fun doing it. You know, it wasn't like I said, well, sell mommy services.
You weren't forcing them.
All they have to do is listen.
Were they put on commission or?
They weren't, but they've been to Disney a lot.
Yes. Indirect commission. They were paid off for sure.
Yeah. We don't talk about it.
So you got first couple deals under your belt there through the network.
Yes.
And when you think about like just how your business evolved, right, over the years, was it just gradual growth, would you say? Or was there a certain moment or a year that you remember that really things took off and you had a spike in your business for any in particular reason?
Yeah. So that first year I wrote $6 million.
Very cool.
So
That's a really solid first year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and at that time, that was 2012 into 2013. Well, yeah, 2012 into 2013. The median purchase price was like $250,000, $245,000. So $6 million was a really, really solid number.
Yeah.
And I would say that
it's still a solid number.
It is. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. If any new agent does $6 million, they're pretty content.
Right.
Yeah.
I think my first year was probably the year I saw the most growth. I learned a lot about myself as a business person. I learned a lot about the industry, and I learned a lot about the sandbox we all play in. Which I know that sounds weird, right? You would think it's the one where you make the most money, but for me, it was the one that helped me lay the most solid foundation.
Okay.
On a personal and professional level, because that year I learned it's very easy to follow the money and lose sight of the work-life balance. Because remember, I still had 2 kids at home. It's easy to jump up and chase the transaction when somebody calls. It's really easy to pay for leads and work those leads, but all of that is time. So I learned a lot about return on investment of your time that first year. I also learned a lot about what I will accept and won't accept as treatment from other people in my industry, from vendors and from customers. It was just a very, very informative year. And
Makes sense.
It laid a solid
Grew up
foundation.
quick in the business, huh?
I did.
It's a lot to learn in 1 year.
It was a lot to learn in 1 year, but you know what? I treated it a little bit differently than a lot of new agents. I got licensed in July of 2012, but I didn't start in November until November of 2012 for a reason. And that was because I have a degree in business and marketing, right? So in that time frame, I structured my business. I didn't jump into this as, let me make a commission. I jumped into this as, let me create a business I can package and sell if I ever want to get out.
I love that. Yep.
That's how I think we need to look at this.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, if you can't sell what you've created at the end, what have you really created that lasts? Because when you're gone, it's gone, right? So that's kind of how I've always looked at it. And not that I haven't made mistakes along the way, that's part of learning. That's the most painful part of learning.
For sure.
I made a lot of mistakes, especially that first year, but
Yeah, I love that, Iris.
Yeah.
So let's dig into that a little bit.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you felt like you did really well in the beginning to structure your business appropriately so that you were thinking long term?
Yeah. So the first thing I did is I figured out what my exit strategy was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds negative, right? But at the end of the day, my husband was still active duty. So there was a very real chance that we would have to pack up and leave. At that point, we'd moved 12 times in 14 years.
Yep.
So it was
You were used to exiting.
We were used to exiting. And in fact, my second year of real estate, I ran my business entirely remotely. Because we left. We left for a year so he could go to school because he was going to go back to Afghanistan when we got back.
Right.
So I had a choice, separate my family for 2 years or put my business on hold for a year after I had gained all this momentum my first year, or hire somebody to be my boots on the ground and keep my business going. And that's what I did. My broker was extremely supportive in making that happen. And so was the buyer's agent I hired. Like it was an eye-opening experience, and one that also set a tone that in our industry, if you keep your eyes and your mind open, there's a lot of opportunity for innovation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to be successful in this business. And that the example you just gave, that was in another market, right? Other than Tampa, one of the ones you left. That was local. Okay.
Yeah. I hired somebody here and I ran my business from there. I ran my business in Tampa from Oklahoma or from Kansas. We were in Kansas that time.
Oh, so you had been in Tampa and then you had to leave?
I was in Tampa for my first year of real estate. And then he ended up getting sent to school. It wasn't Lawton, Oklahoma. That was before. It was Fort. Gosh, there've been so many.
Wherever that was.
There've been so many. We were in Kansas.
Okay.
Where's the prison? It's the big prison that's there. He was at
Never
Officer
been
Canada
to Kansas. I can't help you there.
He was at Officer Basic.
I know Dorothy's there. But that's all I could share.
No, he had to check a box to get promoted.
Okay.
And he was part of a special program at CENTCOM, and he was going to deploy.
How long were you gone for?
We were gone for 9 months.
And then back to Tampa.
And you've
been here ever since?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. So you definitely were forced to figure it out, you know, and have a game plan for this buyer's agent program and how you were going to make that work.
Yep.
And you weren't licensed that long before that happened, it seems like, right? Yeah.
A year.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So again, looking back now, the fact that you had to go through that, you know, and that you had to you really forced yourself to build that layer of protection, let's say, to make your business thrive when you were away. How do you feel like that benefited you when you came back, and ever since with the business that you've built? Has that played a role in any way?
It has, because what I learned is that I developed a business for my buyer's agent, and I had removed myself from the other side of it. When I came back, that was when you saw more growth.
Sure.
Right? That's when you jump up quite a bit in volume.
Yeah.
So I also learned a lot about myself, and I ended up eventually having, I think I had 3 or 4 buyer's agents at one point, along with an assistant and a marketing assistant. And the one thing I discovered about myself is I really don't like managing people. Like, I love people, and it wasn't my buyer's agent's fault.
Sure.
It wasn't like that.
Yeah, you got to have a certain knack for it.
Yeah.
Personality.
There's some people that are geared towards being the leader of the team and having employees, essentially, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not me. That's not me.
So do you still have buyer agents or no?
No.
Okay.
I'm a solo agent. I have.
When did you make that transition?
2016.
Very cool. So you, for years, had a buyer's agent program, right?
2017. It was 2017. It was right before my husband retired.
And your focus at the time then was on listings, I take it?
I generated a lot of buyer and seller listings because I had developed. One of the things that I knew planning going in is that everybody says you list, you last. And that's true. But where do the listings come from? Well, for me, with my connections to the military community, what do service members do every 2 to 3 years?
They move a lot.
They move a lot. Yeah. My buyers were my future sellers.
Sure. Makes sense.
And I knew that when I nurtured that digital farm, that those were my current buyers, those were my future sellers, and if I ever wanted to spread into property management, those are my future landlords.
Yeah, no, that's really smart.
Yeah.
Did you find that since you had these buyers agents in place at that time, and maybe they had more of that relationship with that buyer than you might have? I'm sure you were involved in some capacity, but did you find that at all challenging, that maybe you weren't the one, nitty gritty involved with them on the buyer side, and now you want to help them on the listing side?
Yeah.
But they didn't have that necessarily that relationship with you yet. Is that true at all?
It is to a degree. And when I downsized out of having buyers agents, I lost a chunk. Right. I lost a chunk because they had developed a relationship with the buyer's agents, not me.
Right.
But that's an acceptable loss.
Sure.
Right. That was an acceptable loss to me. I knew it could happen. And the way you get around that is you generate more leads. Right. So, and at the end of the day, none of my buyer's agents had the military connection. And that was part of how
that was always a pipeline.
That was how I maintained my foot in the door with my customers, is I made sure I stayed on top of what was going on in the military community, particularly VA benefits, tax benefits, exemption benefits, all the things that bring that extra bit of service to them.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Over the years, what percentage of your business would you say has come through the military connections?
Oh, directly or indirectly?
Either one.
I would say a good 70%.
So it's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
It's been a big focus of your business.
It has.
Still is today, I would imagine.
It is today, but in a different way. A lot of the people I have now are sellers that have left, and they, with the rising cost of insurance and taxes, they are now dissolving. I am gaining more customers, I find, that are multi-generational. So I have customers that came in, they were retired military, retiring out, or they were coming into the area as retirees, and their children are starting to buy. And they know I took care of them, so they trust me with their kids. And that is a huge compliment.
Sure.
Because they know I'm going to treat their kids well.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Are there kids in the military too? Or
some of them,
some are,
some aren't.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Mixed bag.
Yeah, I love that. And so I know that if I remember correctly from even when we featured you, you have always taken, I would say, an interest in like having like a giving back mentality to the community, right? And whether it was the military community, whether it's just your local community there in Tampa Bay, and whether that's like specific events that you've created or hosted. I know you asked me to MC one of your events as an example last year, and you've been doing a lot of these things, I feel like, over the years.
Yep.
Speak a little bit to that, like the role that your focus has played on event creation, how you add value to the community the way that you've really done. I feel like you've done it very well.
Yeah. So it depends, right, on the event. So I've organized, I was on the Agent Leadership Council for KW. So through them, one of the best ways I found to raise money for nonprofits was through charity events, right? So our favorite is always, designer handbag bingo. That's a big one.
Got everything you need.
It does. And it's a fun night out. And, I love auctioning things off because, everybody gets a little tipsy, spends a little bit more than they should. That's okay. It's going to a good cause. I think the one thing that I've learned in developing these events, and I've done education events, which is what you emceed at. That was our first mega agent event. And that was all about education. I've always tried to look at, when we're looking at an education perspective, is where is the need, right? So we know in our community right now, there's a huge need for food resources and short-term housing and rent. I think Echo was the recipient of our last handbag bingo that we did. The amount of need there is in our community it's staggering, and it's projected to get bigger because of inflation, right? There's not enough to go around. There just isn't. And that's a fact. It doesn't matter. That's not a political statement. It's just a fact. There's not enough to go around. This year, my focus has been on animals. I have 4 dogs. So 2 of them are rescues. 2 of them are not rescues. They're all high maintenance. Yeah. They're all high maintenance, but
they act the same.
And they yes, bougie. Some of them are mean, this is how we live. But my point is that if you're
just brought our second dog into the family.
Oh, did you? You need to get up to 4.
I know.
Then it gets
fun.
Fun.
We have almost 6 kids on the way here. So, I mean, we're Our house is pretty chaotic as it is.
I'm just
Iris.
saying, one per kid. It teaches responsibility.
One per kid. Yes. My wife is going to hate you after that comment. Yeah.
But yeah, giving back to the community, not just the community as a whole, but also the real estate community with the education pieces.
Yeah.
So.
And is that still an integral part of your game plan when you think about your business today? And you plan as far as your year and how you look at it? Do you generally plan an event a year? More than that, not as much? Does that even play a role anymore?
So it really depends. I've had people ask me to help them get events going, which I'm happy to do within reason. Obviously, I can't do 10 events a year. I'm not an event planner. I enjoy it, but no, I do.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, you do know.
It takes a lot.
You're on the trajectory.
Yes, I know.
The way that I'm giving back now is I'm a productivity coach in my market center. So I'm actually coaching individual agents that are looking to take their business to the next level.
Nice.
Even if the next level doesn't look the same as
next level for them.
Yep. You have to meet people where they are.
Do you just coach KW agents or agents of any brokerage?
I'm open to coaching anybody. Yeah. It's one of the things I enjoyed about being a team leader. I have no problem coaching people and guiding them. But I'm not trying to force you to drink from the well. Right. You know what I mean? Like you would as a boss.
The management side, it's a little different.
Yeah, it is.
I get it. I was curious too, with your background and all these different locations that you lived in, and you were an agent in not all of them. Maybe you were for most of them.
I was only an agent here.
Just in Tampa. Yep. Okay. I was going to ask, did you find that to be a lead source at all from all these other markets, that whether people want to move to Florida, move to Tampa, which I know is still a growing population center around here, whether that's ever played a role in your business success, but it doesn't sound like that was really the animal.
Actually, it is, but not in the way you think. So one of the things that happens is when you're going duty station to duty station, you do meet a lot of people and you make connections within your housing area, within your group. My husband wasn't in a traditional infantry group or artillery or anything. He was more on his own. He was sent out on his own. So we didn't have
special operations, huh?
Not special operations. He was counterintelligence. So he wasn't the guy that they were sending out in teams usually.
Gotcha.
He did a lot of interpreting and he spoke multiple languages. So it was a little bit different. So support structure is a little bit different. So you get to know your neighbors. And yes, to this day, I do have old neighbors contact me with questions about real estate. Yes, I've gotten referral business from that. Yes, some of them have become agents and I've encouraged them to become agents because it can be a very, very lucrative industry to be a part of as a military spouse. You just have to fine tune the art of moving with your business.
Yeah, no, that makes, and I would imagine it's different, right? It's a different strategy when you're as ingrained in the military community as you are in the real estate industry.
Yes.
And how you serve those types of clients is a different level of service, different type of service than you might just provide a normal, every regular day retail buyer and seller, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a different lead generation strategy, right? Because we're not going to farm a neighborhood. It takes about 2 years to reap benefits from your farm. We don't have 2 years to do that.
Right.
We can't wait because by the time that farm bears fruit, we're getting ready to leave.
Right.
So what we learned to do is that's when I started doing digital farming, which is where I saw most of my success. And that was through your Facebook groups and leveraging your network. I don't think people realize how big a network the military spouse network is.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's huge.
Yeah. Because when our sailors, soldiers, and service members are gone, training, deployment, even just gone for the day, who else do we have? Our families aren't there.
Right.
The kids are in school. I mean, it's not like we sit in one place. It's not like a lot of places will hire us.
Right.
So
who wants to hire someone who's going to leave next year, maybe?
Yeah.
Or has that level of uncertainty anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not going to want to invest in training us. It's a huge initiative to ensure employment.
Yeah, totally. No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And so you mentioned Facebook groups and just finding those niches there has been a big element of how you've kind of built those relationships and kept them.
Absolutely. Create events in your community. I do a movie group. We get together once a month and we go to a movie. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's just, you were probably going to go to the movie anyway. Why don't you just see if anybody else wants to go?
Yeah, no.
It doesn't cost you anything.
if the community's already there, everyone, I mean, whether they're going to be, military, non-military, everybody likes a movie, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're establishing the community first, and then you find the commonalities from there.
Yeah, exactly. You get to know people. I mean, it's the intent behind it is always to foster the sense of community. And when new people step in, they know they're stepping into a known, even though the people are unknown, because we're all familiar with the lifestyle. We've been there.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because you started this podcast talking about creating your business foundation to last, right? And wanting to create this concept of I want to do things foundationally correct from the beginning, knowing that I don't want to just chase commission. I want to be in this for the long term. And yet the niche that you serve is like almost the opposite of last. It's like short term, it's quick, it's I'm here a year, I'm gone. I'm here a year, I'm gone. So there is a dichotomy there, right? When you think about the two, but you've made it work. And you think about the foundations that you've set there to make things last, even if the clients are constantly moving and changing and, churning, let's say, necessarily, you still have been able to maintain that consistency over time. A lot of people, I think, would find that challenging.
It's not challenging because the one piece that you forgot is I said it's a very small community.
Yeah.
So if you do the right thing and you serve your community well, they're going to tell their friends.
Right.
Hey, so-and-so's PCSing to McDill. Oh, reach out to Iris. She's going to help you. That's where it comes from. So everything becomes referral based. So you don't have to pay for lead generation. I mean, not that I don't take care of the people that refer me business. It's not that. But to me, they're referring somebody they care about to me. So I will ensure they're not taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And that they're put in the best position possible. So it's the network.
And as a business owner, it's the best form of leads you can ever get. Right?
Absolutely. Plus, it's the most satisfying. I mean, let's face it. It feels good to get somebody in a position they want to be in.
Totally.
And keep the transaction as positive as possible.
Yeah. Is your business nowadays pretty much 100% organic growth like that, organic referrals, or do you still do anything else marketing wise intentionally, or it's all organic?
It's all organic.
Yeah.
It's all organic. I mean, I still invest, if somebody sends me, you always want to reinvest in the people that have invested in you.
In
right?
referral source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's pretty much all referral based.
In your experience now, Iris, with the business as a whole, and I know this is different based on the niche maybe that you've served, but what do you think has been the most challenging part of not only maintaining your business, but finding the growth over the years and to, like you said, now create a business that is sustainable and that's going to have that long lasting aspect? Is there anything that stands out to you as the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome?
I think for me, the biggest challenge is ennui, right? So you get into these patterns where, okay, it's going smoothly and you start looking for the next thing, right? This is where at the beginning I said you learn to look and see where there's opportunities, right? So to me, once you have your business to the point where it's running smoothly, you have this down, everything is good. You never lose sight of taking care of your customers. You never lose sight of taking care of your people. But at some point, it gets to the point where that system is so smooth. Now it's time to add. And so for me, the challenge was, where do I add?
Right.
Where it's not going to eat into this, but create another revenue stream.
And not just be a distraction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people go down that road and they don't actually make more revenue at all from it. It just ends up being something they invested more time into.
Yep.
That may be flattened out, and the revenue is equal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't want that.
You don't want that, but you have to accept that sometimes that's going to happen.
Sure.
Right? Because you don't know how far down the rabbit hole you're going to go. But I will say that when you're figuring that out, you start to learn to look for the markers so you know when to jump ship sooner. So you don't throw out more time after bad. And I think that one of the things that I learned that I have leveraged the most is when you find a good partner, you stick with that partner. I have a couple partners.
Your husband probably appreciates that.
He does. He trusts me. He does. Well, I guess your work husband's on the phone. Right? Yes. He's like, tell him I said hi. Okay. But partnering with like a contractor, right? So if you have a contractor that you partner with to do your flips, well, he's managing on the job. I don't have to.
Yeah.
So now I've leveraged him. He's leveraged my funds. We're both mutually beneficial because we're reaping the benefits of that flip.
Totally.
If we're developing land, I know where my lane is, and I trust him to stay in his lane, and he trusts me to stay in my lane.
Yep.
And we've created a partnership that works.
Yep.
Because we trust each other to do each other's job.
Developing the right network is a big key to building not only a portfolio, but just a successful business.
And keeping it small. You get too big, you open the door for problems, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's wise. That makes sense. Have you gone down the road of your parents where you built up your own investment portfolio? Is that something that you're still involved with at all or not at all?
So I have helped my mother expand her portfolio.
Okay.
I manage her properties here. She's expanded. She's moved properties from there to here.
Oh, cool.
Because it multiplies, right? We're talking Central Coast California versus here. Like it multiplies. So I'm helping her with her portfolios. I don't necessarily
You have a property management side of your business then?
I do-ish, but that's not my primary focus.
Hers?
It's hers.
Okay.
It's one for a friend and it's one for somebody else. You know, it's small because that's not my focus.
Yep.
But for me, I don't prefer to rent properties out. I prefer to build or flip and liquidate.
Gotcha.
Build, flip, liquidate. Build, flip, liquidate.
It's a good way to get lump sums of cash flow every now and again.
It is. And I also don't know that, I mean, what if we decide to go somewhere else or do something else, right? You know, the more ties you have in one place, the harder it is to extricate yourself. So until you figure out where you're going to be, to me, it makes more sense to...
Yeah. No, I get it, especially coming from someone with your background, with being used to having to hop around as much as you have. I can see it would be hard to think otherwise.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, I get that. What gets you excited when you think about this year, 2025 and beyond? Like, where's the future vision take you now with your business today, Iris?
Yeah, so I think I'm excited about the what's to come. Like, I know that... You know, you hear the phrase, if you're not growing, you're dying. I think the same is true of our industry. And the times when you grow the most, and it sounds really cliche, but the times when you grow the most are usually the most painful. That's when you learn the hardest lessons.
Yeah.
Those are also usually the most expensive.
Ones you remember the best too.
Yep. But I have a feeling this year is going to be a year for a lot of lessons. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
Are you predicting a lot of pain?
Well... I think there's a lot of change coming, and I think that we're either going to have to learn to adapt or, you know, and grow, or we're going to stagnate and be left behind. And that's not a political statement. That's just in any industry. All of our industries are evolving because technology is starting to grow exponentially. For
sure.
And we either have to keep up or we're going to get left behind.
Makes
and
sense.
that includes real estate.
No, I agree. I couldn't agree more, actually. There's, whether it's AI or other forms of technology that are already trying to replace the agent in some ways, you know?
Exactly.
I don't think you can ever truly replace the human side of what an agent brings to the table, but there's a lot of technology trying to in some ways.
There is, but I think the loss of the human element is really, really dangerous because at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't going to they're not going to entirely trust the machine. When you're dealing with a probate sale, or someone's lost their spouse or their parent or their child. No.
Right.
No.
Totally.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is I think if done right, agents can actually still utilize, though, that technology effectively to make sure that they bring their value, but then they figure out a way to leverage what is available, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the wise way to look at it from an agent perspective.
Learn what questions to ask the AI to benefit your business.
Right.
Don't work against it because it's going to happen no matter what.
Right.
So you may as well leverage it to your benefit. Do you need help writing content? Get specific on what you want and let it write it for you. Yeah. You can have it reformat things for you. You can
do a lot of different things. Yeah,
there's craziness that can happen. So why not?
That's a whole other podcast.
It is, right?
So we're going to put a bow on the episode, but I want to do a couple quick rapid fire questions for people to get to know you personally.
Yep.
Favorite hobbies and interests? What do you love to do other than gym and real estate?
I'm just starting to get back into hobbies again. My husband's assistant.
I took hobbies off for a while.
So I do painting, like custom prosthetics. My daughter, costuming, custom costuming, things like that. I cook and I read a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was my next question. Do you have a favorite book or author that's made an impact on you?
I like Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett.
Okay.
But if you're looking for something that could be super influential that most realtors don't think about, The Art of Woo.
Never heard of it.
It's a book called The Art of Woo.
WOO?
WOO. It's 4 steps to persuasion.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. 4 steps to persuading people to think, to accept your ideas and input.
You know who Ric Flair is?
Yes.
The Art of Woo.
The Art of Woo. Yeah. Wooing people to your side.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, very, 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 I think, relevant for agents too, to become more persuasive and more influential in their ability to attract, right?
Yeah,
the right
absolutely.
people. So I love that. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, gosh. So I've been really into Korean cooking shows lately.
Nice.
Which is ironic because they're all in Korean with no like voiceover. And yet I'm constantly turning them up like I understand what they're
That's funny.
saying.
That's what you can use AI for as well. Please translate what they're saying in this.
Right.
That's funny.
So yeah, I've been watching Korean cooking shows.
Is that what you're into cooking now? Is the Korean food?
Well, so I'm part Japanese, so we've always had a heavy Asian influence on food in our house. But yeah.
I'm a huge sushi fan. I love it.
Are you?
Yeah. I probably like the Americanized version of Japanese sushi, but
best sushi grade fish you can get is actually at Detweiler's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good recommendation.
Yeah.
I've never been to Japan. Have you?
I have not. My grandmother used to go back like every couple of years.
Gotcha.
To the village where she grew up, but
it's on my list. Yeah. I'd love to go to Tokyo or just check out a bunch of different cities out there, actually. So one of these days, Iris, we'll get out there.
Bucket list.
All right. Last question for you. And we'll put a bow on our episode. And this has to do really with legacy.
Yep.
And so when you think about that day, hopefully many years from now, where you're chilling on the rocking chair, sipping your lemonade and thinking about what you'd want to be most remembered for, right? Business-wise, it could be personal or professional. But what do you think would mean most to you? What would matter most to you in terms of your legacy and what you'd want to be remembered for?
So it's funny because, you sent the questions over ahead of time, and I thought about this one because there's a lot of different answers to give, but I think, and I really thought about this one, and I think, you know what? It's as simple as I think I just want to be remembered as having been a good person, doing the right thing, even when it was the hard thing, even when it didn't feel like a good thing to do, but being remembered as a good person.
Yeah, I love it.
Personal and professional.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Whether that's with family, clients, just making sure that you're dealing with people the right way.
Well, and being remembered at all. I mean, that's a huge compliment to be remembered at all, Yeah.
There's some adage I heard there where like you're only 100 years away from being completely forgotten or something like that. So it's rare to do things in a way that actually will be remembered.
Yeah. It was either really, really bad, so don't do that.
Right.
Or it was so
you can do it in either extreme, but that's really the only way to kind of approach it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
One way or the other. Iris, it was great to have you here. We dove into a lot of great nuggets, and hopefully it will make a difference for some of the agents out there. And the way we always try to end the episode is with a challenge to the audience. So yes, for sure. If anybody wanted to reach out to you and just pick your brain a little bit more, what's the best way for them to do that?
Phone call is best. 813-312-6676.
Cool.
Shoot me a text. We'll schedule a call. And I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Yeah, we'll make sure that's in the description there too.
Yeah, but just know my voicemail is always full because those freaking spammers never stop.
I can relate to that as well. Yeah, if I don't recognize the number, I'm probably not picking up. But text me, and I'll know who you are.
Exactly.
We always recommend people taking action on this show. So if you hear something, what's one thing that you can take action on that's going to make a difference personally or professionally? And if you do that, the time that you invested in watching this live stream or any of the 15 plus podcast platforms that you might hear this on is going to be worth it. I know I get that idea really from a lot of Tony Robbins' work and the importance of just taking one thing, one action step will propel you with momentum forward in a certain direction. So Iris fleshed out a lot of great ideas. Maybe it's the foundational aspect of really going back. You might even be a licensed agent for a while and you realize I've never really done that. It really took the time to think about a business that I can even sell one day, what it would look like to structure it accordingly. We talked a little bit about her relationship with buyer's agents over the years, obviously her relationship with the military and how she found her niche and how she serves it uniquely. But what is it for you? Maybe you still need to identify what that niche is for you, right? Or what community you can step into that's really going to make an impact that you want to serve, that you're passionate about. Maybe it's just the book, The Art of the Woo, that Iris also recommended. But do something, right? Take action so that we can move forward and make sure that the objective of this show is meeting its needs to make sure that it's making an impact on you. Now, check us out at topproducersnation.com. Again, you can see all the different resources that we have available for you as an agent to become a top producer in your desired market, including courses and coaching opportunities, as well as like online business automation suites to just help you grow your business and become a top producer in your desired market. We'll see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. We'll see you later.